At the time, the city's official plan wouldn't allow, in its current zoning, so R1 at the time, triplex. So to go spend 700 or 800,000 to build something new, it was very difficult to make the numbers work. So being prepared and obviously in the marketplace and having a little inclination that the city would have to be or would have to enforce what the province is going to be introducing, which is any square footprint in its existing state on a parcel already built can turn into immediately a triplex. So we used to have these little turnarounds as like secondary dwellings. Now we have this idea that it can turn into a triplex. Why you'd want it as a triplex is because simply you can just make more rent. So the ability for individuals to purchase properties right now, especially starter homes, is almost like obsolete. It's very strenuous to qualify for mortgages at 6-7% with the average incomes that are currently happening, which has, as Toronto has seen, a tightening in the rental market. It's skyrocketing. It's the same thing in Ottawa. The main difference in Ottawa is that it's a bit more stable income. So we don't have a lot of people transient, like coming in and out. Often they're like not long-term tenants, but they're like longer-term tenants. So maybe a year to 3 years minimum. Why that's important is because turnover can be expensive, paying commissions, finding, having blocks in vacancy and whatnot. But the security that you get by renting to these individuals is that they ultimately stay for periods of like longer than 6 months. So why the triplex model is better is because currently we make $1,850 in the basement unit. It's a 2-bedroom. On the main floor, we do $2,600 plus the secondary level. So the only complication of that is at 6% interest rate, and let's say hypothetically a mortgage amount of 600 or 700 grand, you're only breaking even. Like I alluded to before, is like I was making $400 on the original rental that I owned. So that idea of at least break even or cash flow would be of interest. So why you would want to convert those, why I would want to convert a property that I just built in 2021 to a triplex is that like it makes complete sense to reinvest maybe another 70 grand. Seems crazy, but 70 grand into an existing home that you already bought. But I would make another $1,300 to $1,800 in rent for the same parcel, for the same square footprint, for the same property. You're additionally making $1,300 to $1,700 with no added on addition or anything like that. So it's quite substantial if you break it down, and that refinanced over a period of time can add up. So it's 50 grand potentially over 2-3 years. So like my dad always says, when you have rental properties, who's paying and for what? So the uniqueness, and I must stress this, is that your risk tolerance will depend on what you want to do in today's market with regards to investing. But if you keep your money in your bank, you're not going to make anything. And if you keep your money in your primary home that you've owned for, let's say, 5 years plus, that equity, yes, you're paying it down. It's so honorable. But today, to make money, you need to leverage. And that's free money. That's equity that your parents would have never found.